everyone, welcome to 괡ᴏ. Today is land work day, so I will show you a few tricks on land work that will help you improve your land work, especially for beginners. So my first step in land work will be body stabilities, and then the second step on land work will be tools to use. And then the third step will be the correct material to use, either gel paint or gel polish. And then the fourth step on land work will be loading gel. I'm going to show you how to load it properly. And then the fifth step is pressure. I will show you correct pressure. And then the sixth step is brush angle. And then we will learn about surfacing. We will learn about perspective. And then I'm going to have homework for you at the end. So let's start. Let me connect myself first. Our product is at www.tknovo.shop. And then Kyla's information is 417-772-4020. For if you have any question about shopping or shipping or website or any collaboration, you can text Kyla. All right.
Very good.
Okay. Just a second, we need to connect ourselves first.
Okay.
Okay. If it doesn't pop up, then you have to redo it. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. So first I will show you more on perspective on the body stability. So when you do land work, let me move this camera over here so you can see. Okay, so I want you to look at the screen down in the bottom. When doing land work, you need body stability, meaning the top of my body, I want it to be free flow. I want it to be light and no pressure. So when you do land work, both of your feet need to touch the ground, because I know that a lot of people like to cross their leg like this or like to sit like that doing it. No, you have to actually ground it yourself by having both feet on the ground. That's where your bottom body is grounded all the way, so the top can freely move. So that is number one, is to make sure that the bottom half of your body is grounded, so you can move freely, flow on top. Now, the second thing is left hand grounded. So in land work, I will speak in a perspective of a right hand person. So I am right hand. So when I do land work, I want my left hand to lay completely on the floor like this, completely. So the left half of my body, I can lean into it. So now everything is grounded on the half of my body on the left. So on the right, I can freely move. So number one, Dustin, will you help me put a sticker onto my left arm right here? So that is number one. In the upper body is left hand grounded. Do the pink one. It's prettier.
Pink?
Yes. And stick it right here. So this is the first point. Now, the second point is on my right arm. So my right arm, I am going to use it to draw. So my left arm, I'm going to hold my client hand. Okay, this is the way that you can hold the hand so that it doesn't move anywhere. I will go back to that. But my right hand I want to ground my right hand by anchor on the tables. Now, I don't use my elbows because if I do my elbow, it's gonna hard to reach down to the arm, and you're gonna move more difficult. Versus if you lean your forearm onto the table, I can slice it left, right. I can slice it a little further or a little back. You know what I mean? So it's easy for me to move. So Dustin, can you put a sticker right on my forearms right here? So I will put a sticker here on the elbow instead. On the forearm. So this is point number 2. Now when my right hand is freely moved, now I can move my wrist. I can draw my wrist. I can hold in a brush like this and draw. However, you know that when it comes to line work, it's all about pressure. So if you touch lightly, your line gonna be thin. If you press a little bit, your line gonna be thick, right? But when you do line work, you do want to be able to control your pressure. So if your hand is flowy like this, when you draw, you might go up and down, and you might not be able to control it, and your line will be thick and thin. So for you to be able to control that pressure and maintain that pressure, you need a finger anchors. And my finger anchor is a ring fingers, but also a lot of people like to use a pinky. Can you give me the phone, Dustin?
This one?
Yes.
Completely off the thing?
Yes. Thank you.
Will you post the website and or that you won't be answering questions?
Okay, website is www.inovo.shop. Organized live. Nice live. No response to comment. To comment. Post. Okay, now, so when you draw this brush right here, if you're not anchoring your fingers, when you draw, let's say I have a nail right here. Okay. So when you draw, if you hover on the air like this, you cannot control how light or how thick you want to be. You know, I mean, you can go down like this, you can go up like this. It's very hard to flow like this. So that's why I need a finger, and that's what the finger is for. Is if I just want to hover on the tip of my brush, I can. If I want to hold it there, I can. And if I want to press it down further, I can. And most people think that it's because of these fingers. No, it's because of these fingers. It's holding it like that. It's anchoring it. So it helped me control my lightness and my pressure. So Dustin, will you put a sticker right on my finger?
On your finger?
Yes. So that is step number 3 on the upper bodies. And I use my ring fingers, but a lot of people like to use a pinky. So this is step 1, step 2, and step 3. And they are, I call the triple lock. It means when you lock, when you ground your left hand like this, and then you anchor your right forearm, and then you lock this finger in, there's no moving. For you or your client, you in full control. Now, I want to show you a little bit on size ankles. That I need doesn't help. I have a table right here. Will you scoot over for me? So, a lot of people like to do this. And that is for right-handed people. So for left-handed people, you just switch it around. Instead of left hand anchor, you do the right hand anchors. So now I'm a right-hander. So my left hand, this is step number 1. on my upper body is to anchor, right? But a lot of people like to do this. A lot of people like to use the elbow, you know what I mean?
Which hurts.
Now, when you do this, it's great for acrylic application. It's great for filing even. But in line work, you cannot control your client. If Becky over here is distracted or looking at the magazine or talking to her friend, she's not going to pay attention to whatever I'm doing. And this angle are very dangerous because guess what? She can move right, she can move left, she can scoot over, she can move toward me. This is a moving angle, which is good for acrylic.
Pivot.
Yes, and it's good for shaping, but it's definitely not good for line work, because line work, you need your client to be grounded. You need to have full control of your client. So this angle is a moving angle. When I'm down like this, she can move. Because my hand is down on the table, she can move up. If she move up, her hand move, but her fingers stay there.
Awkward.
Now, and then my hand is rested. I don't just rest it my forearm. I rested the entire arm. So she can move left, she can move right, she can move, but the fingers stay here, exactly in this point. Move. So I call this a deck grip. A deck grip means whatever Becky do, Becky do. But the fingers stay here, exactly where it is. Circle like a fish, like a fish. See, that is a dead grip, and for 13 years I have mastered this dead grip. They don't move at all. So that is step number one, is for you to be able to control your client. That is for anchoring your client. Now, number two is side angle, right? Because if you do the elbow, you first of all you have to reach down, and then if you move, you have to actually lift your arm up and move. Where if you use your forearm, you can slide. So you can slide left, right, up, down, you know what I mean? So it's mobile. It's an anchor, but it's a mobile anchor. This is for your fluid motion and your freedom. It's give the wrist more of a freedom to rotate. So now your left side is completely ground, and then your right side freely move. And then remember the anchor fingers. That is for pressure, which I will get back to it in step number 5. So we are done with step number 1. It's body stability. Thank you, Dustin. Now, step number 2 are tools. So let's see the brush that we're gonna use. Now, the brush that I use, the liner brush, is 10 millimeter and 20 millimeter. And then also a detail brush that I use are 5 millimeter and 7 millimeter. And a lot of people have no clue of what exactly they use for. So today I will explain the purpose of liner brush and detail brush. Let's start with the biggest, is a 20 millimeters. Now, the 20 millimeter brush is a long brush. And for brush this long, it is not sensitive to your hand motion. Meaning, if I use the tip of my brush to draw, and I accidentally shift my pressure a little bit down, what you can see here is this brush bend. When it's bent, it's absorb a little bit of pressure. Unlike a pen, when you use a pen or something hard, when you go down, it's going down. You can see it on the nail details. But this brush here is absorb the pressure. So the point of the brush versus the top is very long. So it's not really sensitive to hand pressure. That make it amazing for straight line. And you can also do slightly curved line and longer line, because 20 millimeter, you cut more of a reach than shorter brush. So I recommend this brush for thin line, very thin, because as I say, it's not sensitive to hand pressure. So if you were barely touching the tip of your brush and you move, if you accidentally add a little more pressure to it, your line still gonna stay thin. It's very forgiving and it's very easy to use. So again, further reach in the 20 millimeters, it gives you a further reach on the line, and it's less sensitive to hand pressure. If you shake a little bit on your hand, if you drink a little coffee and you're a little shaky, 20 millimeter is perfect for you. Now, let's study about the 10 millimeters, which slightly shorter. The 10 millimeter of this brush, what it do is also do straight line, and it also do slightly curved line. However, it have a shorter reach. As you can see here, in a longer brush, my hand can stay exactly in one place, and I can move from here down to here. See that? My pressure, my reach is longer versus a short one. If my hand stayed in one place like this, when I move, I can move to about half the nails. And then guess what? I have to adjust a little bit and then continue. So the reach is much shorter. However, it's more sensitive to hand pressure. So guess what? This is perfect for thicker line, meaning you can press, and when you press, the line will be thicker. It's easier to add volume into your line work with a shorter brush than with a longer brush. A 20 millimeters will help you navigate great addition very well. However, when you press on it and try to make the line thicker, it's a little difficult and a little bit of inconsistent. So when you want to make your line work thicker and add more volume to it, use a 10 millimeter, and actually it's one of my favorite. Now, let's learn about the 7 millimeter. You see short brushes like these, like the 5 and 7. It's really sensitive to hand pressure, and this is for people who are not pro, but intermediate, not fresh as beginner. They use brush for a while, and they can have a little control over the brush, because with a 7 and 5, if you shake, the brush will shake with you, because the distance from the tip of the brush with your finger is short. So if you shake a little bit, the tip will shake a little bit. But for this difficulty in exchange, the range of motion of these brushes are phenomenal. You can do straight line, you can do curved line, you can do twisted line. It's like a pen. You can move, you have more freedom to move, you have more range to move. However, those range of these brushes are very short because it's shorter, so it covers details. That's why I call it a detail brush instead of a liner brush, because you can move as in short bursts. So let's study about the 5 millimeters. Now, these are tiny, and I like to use it, number one, for tiny little lash line, like little hairline in character painting or portrait. Number two, I love to use it for filling, especially small detail. I love to fill, because a lot of people think that just because these brushes are shorter, it's built for thin line. No, not really. It's built for filling, because it's sensitive to your hand pressure. So when you press, it's gonna go ahead and release all the gel inside it. So I love to use for filling. It's phenomenal for thicker strokes because it's shorter, so it can navigate your pressure well. So if you want thick or thin, assuming that you're in control of your pressure, it will listen to you, especially when I have to use top coat to like trace the shine of a design like these. Like if I have a design like this that I already made and I want to trace top coat over it, I like to use a 5 or 7 millimeter, because it can hold gel very well. It can hold top coat very well. Versus a longer brush, what happened is liquidy gel like top coat, it will drip back to its body, and then the tip will be nice and pointy. So one of the distinct difference is these are very easy for thin line, and these are very easy for thicker lines. So that is a little bit of understanding on your tools. Now we are going to learn about materials. So two types of materials. This is step number 3. Is not material. Two types of material that I'm using is art gel, which is gel paint, or polish, gel polish, such as my pigment base or my gel colors. So I will explain the difference between the two. Now, gel pen have a thicker consistency. Okay. And let me take out a brush. And a palette. When it comes to gel paints, when you run a brush over the surface, gel pen is thicker, so it helps you drag it more. It's easier for you, and it's in control. It stays put. It doesn't move anywhere. If you crisscross your line like this, it doesn't blend, because if you use gel polish, it surely will blend together a little bit. And gel polish is more unstable. Let me take out a little bit of red gel polish. Now, these polish are very good, so sometimes I do use that with line work. However, it's more liquidy, so when I run over it, my brush, I notice it's move more, it's more slippery. And when I cross it like this, it's not as sharp as this one. It's more blendy. So with polish, what I like to use it for is to fill, because when I fill with polish, because it's cell level so fast, it's all smooth out on its own, versus if I use gel paint to fill. Take out gel paint. Let's say I use it art gel to fill. What happened is, because it loves to stay put, even though this is a really good art gel. So sometimes when I use a liner brush, it also will smooth out automatically. However, gel pen is not really a preferred option to fill, because you can see a little bit of marking, versus this is super smooth. So for gel pen, I love to use for detail, and I love to use it for stroking. And when I say stroking, it's using a flat brush. As long as your brush is flat, you can stroke over a surface and it will make it smooth like this. So it's good for one stroke technique. It's good for vertical ombre. See how I stroking this with a flat brush right here. And I also can use a filler brush right here. Also, it's a flat brush, but a tiny flat brush to fill in tiny little detail. So that is what I use gel pen for, detail or stroking like this. Now, thicker consistency is very easy for me to draw versus thinner consistency. So I not likely would take a thin gel polish and trying to draw. However, I love to fill with gel polish. So with gel polish, remember that I would like to use it for filling or to paint it the whole background. And sometimes I would like to use gel polish to blend a little bit, because it's thinner, so you can spread it out more than gel paint. See that? How when I spread it out, it's getting thinner and thinner. See that? So I love to use gel polish for this aspect. So each material have its own purpose, and it's very important for you to know both in order for you to master line works. Now, I am going to discuss about loading gels. And these are very important because a lot of people doesn't know how to load gels. Let me see if we can find. Let's imagine that this is a liner brush. Imagine that this one is this, okay? But are you a bigger brush, you can see. Now, when it's come to gels, there is 2 steps on loading. Step number 1 is that when you first dip your brush in, you have to twist it. And what you do is that you make sure that gel polish is going inside your brush and make sure that it's load your gel polish completely in the body of your brush. And then step number 2 is stroking. Stroking is just to make your shape thinner so you can easily draw. Now, a lot of people with a clean brush, when they go in, all they do is stroke it. They don't roll it. So what happened is when they stroke it like this, the gel polish will only cake on the outside of the brush. It did not go inside. So when they start to paint, they're gonna eventually run out of gels really quick. So let's say if I just stroke it a little bit and I go, eventually I will end up missing gel. So when they roll their brush into the gel polish like this, what happened is make sure that the gel polish is submerged in your brush. So now your brush is packing with gels. Then when you stroke it out, it's nicely shaped, it looks really thin, but really in the body of your brush are full of gel. So it's easier for you to draw. So that is a very important thing. It know how to load. I will do it again. Let me zoom all the way in. I will take a clean brush. I will go in and I will rock from side to side and I press it out so it's flat. Did you see that? It's really flat. And make sure that it's submerged with gel. See, it's have a lot of gel in it now. Then what I do is I want it to be nice and thin for my line work. So I stroke it out. These are extremely important. So now my brush is nice and thin, but when I draw, it's amazing. I never have to stop because now my brush is packed with gel and it's fluid, meaning gel can move in and out, it's smoother than a dry brush and you only coated the outside layer. It's not going to be smooth for you. It's going to be very stiff and it's going to be very difficult for you to do, for you to draw. Okay, so that is loading gels. That is a twist and a stroke. So remember, you have to twist and you have to stroke. Now, next is pressures. This is going to be a fun one since a lot of beginners doesn't know how to adjust their pressure. And that's when we come back to the ring fingers or the pinky finger to stabilize your pressure. Let's take out some gel pen. Okay, and a liner brush, and I am gonna pick nails. Okay, so I will take out some gels. Load it in and stroke it. Now, if I just touch the tip of my brush and I just run, what happened is I will end up with a very, very thin line. Because, let's take this brush again. I love to use this brush for demonstration. You see this? Ooh. How I just touch the tip of my brush. See that? So my line is thinner. Now, if I press it down, guess what? It's going to be way thicker. So your pressure is very important in line work. If I use it to press, my line surely going to be thicker. Which are a lot of people think that it's easy to do thick line because you don't have to try to draw with the tip of the brush. You can just press and go. Not really, because the thickness of it have to be stable, have to be consistent, meaning from start to end, it have to be even. And most people think that when I draw, let's say I do a thick line, most people think that when I draw, I touch the tip of my brush, and when I press it down, I run evenly. No, not really, because this is a big brush. It's easy for me to keep my pressure like this and maintain it. It's easy, but you're talking about a very thin brush. So when I use a very thin brush to draw, when I come down with my pressure, I go for a little bit and I notice that my pressure is lighter than it's lip. And at that point, I have to press it down more and keep going. And then I'm aware that it's weakened on the pressure again, and I press it again, and I press again. So in a microscopic level, when I move with a liner brush, this is how I move. I go down, I go, and eventually I need to go down again. I need to go down again, and then I need to go down again. But because it is so thin and small, most people doesn't see that. So they think that I draw in an even kind of pressure, but no, I constantly watch my pressure. And how am I doing this? Is that I don't look at my brush. I don't look at my brush, I look at the line. Because eventually when you move, if your pressure is left, you will see that it starts to getting thinner. See that? It's thinner right here. So you have to make sure that you return the pressure and go. And eventually, when you're not paying attention, you start to notice that it's getting thinner again. So you have to press it again to move. So adjusting pressure, meaning constantly look at your line, not looking at your brush. That's why it takes practice, because you have to practice controlling your brush first, and then you have to practice using the eye to look at the line. That is a lot of practice. So that is step number 5, pressure. And that is where the ring finger is extremely important, because without the ring finger, guess what? If I just hold my hand like this on the air, it's almost impossible for me to keep an even pressure. I go down, I might go up again. It's impossible. So this ring finger right here is anchor. See that? I can hover on top like this. See my fingers? I can hover on top like this. I can go down, and it's all because of this finger, not because of any of these fingers holding the brush. It's because of the anchor finger. Even in a day that I feel extremely shaky, I can get through it because of this finger. It's an anchor for you. So a way of you to practice your pressure, this is your first homework. At home, this is what I want you to do, especially for people that haven't mastered line work yet. I want you to do this. I want you to take out some gel pen, distribute it, and then on top of the palette, I want you to do this. I want you to keep an anchor, or you can even use a nail. You can even use a blank nail like this. Okay, pick up some gel pen. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to follow my step on the body stability. Your left hand are grounded, so you can hold this. This doesn't move. Maybe it twists a little bit, but completely up to you, not up to your client. Hold it like this, rest at your forearms, and then you anchor your fingers, and I want you to do this. I want you to use the tip of your brush, and I want you to touch the surface. You see here, you make a tiny little dot, but I want you to hold it for 30 seconds, a minute, eventually a minute and 30 seconds, 2 minutes. You can go up to 10 minutes. But when they first started, most likely they can only last a few seconds. because holding the pressure like this requires extreme focus and attention. Because if your mind going somewhere else, bam, take a stroke because your pressure is now shifted. So when it comes to line work, a lot of people think, oh, my hand is so shaky, my hand is not stable. It's not really your hand. It's how you think. Because a person when they draw, they might think that they're very focused on what they're drawing, but not really. People are very distracted. And when you're distracted, it will affect your pressure big time. So these are your first homework that you have to do, is know how to hold your pressure. And it's a form of meditation. Because when you try it, you will find that it's hard to try it for a minute. Let's try it for 10 seconds. Do you count for me, Dustin?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There. When you lift up your brush, after the timer is done, you have to make sure that your dots are nice and thin. Because a lot of people say, I'm not draw thin line, I'm not thin line. This is your first step. You have to practice how to control your pressure. After I successfully have been practiced, let's say if you pass a minute, you're good to go. Even 30 seconds is extremely good. And after this, you will learn how to run. So you touching your brush, same with the same pressure. Now you should have no problem having light pressure. That's step number 1. But now you have to keep the light pressure, and then you have to run your brush. So this is step number 2, is using the brush, touch it and run. And try to be as thin as possible, like a hairline. Really, really thin. Okay. Now I want you to look at this and notice that this part right here is slightly more thicker than the other part. And what happened is, when I run through, my mind is sort of, well, right now I'm talking to you, so it's obviously calculating other things. But I want you to know that if your mind is drifted somewhere else, your pressure will shift like this. It shift a little bit, and it shift a little bit, and I notice it, so I lift the brush back up again. So remember, your brush is constantly go up and down. You have to keep it at the same pace and run. That is training. That is required training. Yes, the knowledge is there, but work needs to be put into it for you to master line work, cartoon, portrait, all of that is come from this line work right here. So this is where you started. That your second step is learn how to hold your pressure and learn how to run with it. Now, the third step is even more crucial. Now you have to learn how to hold more pressure like this. If I take a brush, and don't use a 20mm for this, that's cheating, because the 20mm is more difficult. Use it with a 10mm, and if you dare, use it with a 7mm, because it's sensitive to your hand. So if you shake, it shake with you, and it's good to practice with something harder first.
So as a recap, harder pressure makes fatter lines, up thinner pressure, thinner lines.
Thinner pressure is thinner line.
Wow.
Thinner pressure means just barely touch the tip of your brush, just like that. If you press, then part of the body of your brush will be in it too. So it's a deeper pressure, meaning the line will be bigger. Now, that is what you practice. Next, in the third step, is you taking a brush, you touch it, but this time not barely. This time you press a little bit. Count 10 seconds for me.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When you lift, you want a beautiful little oval, a beautiful little oval shape or a dot shape. That is a sign of success. You don't want this, because remember, you are pressing your brush. So if your mind get distracted, you're gonna shake or you're gonna move. And when you lift up and you have a janky shape like this, that's failures. So when you lift up, your dots have to be perfect. That's, see, when you touch it, like when you lift, your dots have to be perfect, and that is a sign of you not moving. It's a sign of you staying in one place. Your mind are still, and you are in control. You're not shaking, because the practice here is to stay still, right? So if your brush is not still, that is failure. So that is a third form of meditation. It learn not to move, because your hand is yours. It should stay still when you want it to stay still, and it's only move when you want it to move. So in this staying still meditation practice right here, if your brush just move on its own, then that means that issue right there that need to be fixed. So that is the third one, is to stay still with pressure. The first one is to stay still with light pressure, just a tip. And then the second one is to learn how to run with light pressure. Third one is to stay still with deep pressure. And then the fourth one, the fourth homework that you have to do is to stay still with deep pressure and then run. Now this is the most difficult one. See, I constantly lift, so I have to come back down, there. And at this point, I run out of gel, so I reload in the gel. When I go back in, guess what? I have to anchor my finger first, so my brush can move in the exact location. Let's say here. See, I can only touch it. It doesn't move if I don't want it to move. Now I'm slowly going down. Stop pressing again. And then do it one more time just to make sure the pressure is even. So that is your third practice, is to make an even thick line, which is very difficult. It's not easy. Now, because more people, they say, oh, thick line is so easy, but when they draw, it's end up, you know what I mean? It doesn't stay thick all the way. So that's not good. So that is your fourth, how to say lesson?
Fourth lesson.
For objective, so fourth step in your homework, it's learn how to run with deep pressure. Now the last one that I want to sneak in, that even more difficult, the fifth step. Let me change the nail. The fifth step is learn to run with deep pressure and then lift the thin pressure, and vice versa, like this. I am going to use my brush. I am going to press. I am going to run, and I am going to slowly lift my brush.
To thin it out.
Come here.
Wow.
Stop. That is different than this. A lot of people like to do this. They press, and then you go, whew. That's different. That is not in control. And a lot of people love that. A lot of people, when they spin it the line, they go, whew, like that. They like that. That is a sign of you not being able to be in control, and that is a bad habit for many nail technicians and nail artists. That is dangerous habit, because many times, not just in line work, but when people color, and you know, I mean, when they fill in colors, they like, oh, I can never fill in line, but this is what they do. You know what I mean? Or when they do acrylic, same thing, they do this. They stroke like this, they dig like this. That those are all bad habits. You have to know that each brush stroke, you have to be able to control it, you have to monitor it, and you have to stop exactly when you want to stop. Like this. Let me pick up another brush. Okay. So like this. When people go in, they might have control, but if they like to, I call it slashing. If it's like to slash, the end is never in control. It's never really where you want it to go. So the point here is you press, you run with moderate speed, not too fast. And when you get to here, you can stay for a little bit. Count 10 seconds.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 8, 10. Good.
Yeah. See that? You can stay. When you're done, you can stay. You have to be able to be in control of it. So that's step number 5. And if you are daring, you can do it in reverse. You can start on the air like this, and you can run a little bit and slowly press your brush in. Now that is something even not a lot of master can do. A lot of masters that have been doing now for 10, 20 years, still, this is called a stroke that you're breaking rules. So instead of going from tick to 10, you go back from 10 to tick. So if you can master that step, that's great for you too. So those are what you need to practice on pressures. And I call that stroke a Baroque stroke. We will go over that when we do our homework. Now, number 6 are direction. Direction are also a quite trick because a lot of people doesn't understand the direction. And I want to explain for you the difference between a brush and a pen. Now, a pen, let me find a piece of paper. Right here. I got it. Now, a pen, you most likely will be familiar with pen or pencil. A pen is a hard object. You can move down. You can move right. You can move up. And you can move left. You can curve. And the whole time, I'm staying in one place, in one angle. I'm just move however I want. Because it's a hard object. Now, a brush is not the same. A brush, when you hold in your angle like this, if you pull onto the right, that's good. But then going down, guess what? It's a soft object. So look how it's bent. And then you go into the left. Oh my God, this is gonna ruin your brush. And then you're going up, see that? So a brush is soft, so you cannot move it however you want. The only direction that you move with a brush are backward, like this. If I want to move to the right, my angle is this way. If I want to move down, I have to switch my angles and pulling it down. If I want to move left, I have to switch my angles and moving it to the left. Or I can ask my client to turn her hand over and then moving it to the right. Since I'm right-handed, so you can turn hand over and move it to the right. Or when I go up, I have to switch my angle right here and pulling it up. So your brush are always moving backward. It never move right, never move left, it's never move up. It's always pulled backward. That is the direction of
So you're just
your brush.
good at one stroke in one direction, always in different hand positions.
Different hand position, and later on you will learn how to adjust your hand direction, because being a right hand person, and as I say, if you left hand, you just switch it around. Whatever I say, you just switch it around. But being a right hand person, my 2 favorite stroke are the stroke to the right. I love to stroke to the right. And then I love to go down. And over time, I learned how to go up, but that's more difficult. I have to switch up. Like this. See that? See how I anchor on top of here, and then I move, I pull up. I have to go outside my body. I have to go out my body. This, I can go into my body like this. I can pull into my body, which is easy. And this pull into the right because I'm right hand. But on left hand, I most often would tell people to turn the hand over. And I just move right, but upside down like this. The hand like this, I just tell them to do this. And I go to the right, but when they turn over, it's actually to the left. So that is a few tricks. But you see here, these or straight line. Straight line are easy breezy. Because when, let's take a new piece of paper. Now, this is when they come to speeding. Now, when you move all the way down, you can go 50 miles per hour. You know what I mean? You can go as fast as possible. Whew, really fast. Because that is just one direction. Right? When you move to the right, woo, that is just one direction. One direction, like driving a car on a highway. On a highway, you can easily go 100 miles per hour, woo, all the way, because that's just one direction. But when you
mean a straight line?
Right. But you see, when you pour into McDonald's, let's say McDonald's is right here, and you are running at 95 miles per hour this way, right? If you want to run and turn to McDonald's, at this point, 95 miles per hour will kill you. It will get you into an accident right away, because this is when you have to deal with curve. When you're dealing with a curve stroke, let's say I painted a curve stroke like this. When you're dealing with a curve stroke, that's not one direction. That is to the left, slightly down, to the left still, slightly more down to the left, slightly down and all the way down, and then slightly down to the right, slightly down to the right, and then all the way to the right, and slightly up and slightly up to the right. You see that? That is many angle. It's just like when you turn your car to the McDonald's parking lot, you have to slow down. So when you draw on line work, a lot of people have issue with this, because when they curve, that's when the magic gone. It's over. When they go on straight, it's all good, but when they curve, they never, oh, this is a good curve. Let me do a bad curve. Like that. When they curve, the reason is you have to slow down to make sure that you go slightly down to the left, slightly down to the left, all the way down, all the way down, slightly down to the right, slightly down to the right, all the way to the right. You see that? You have to slow your speed down, because there's many angles to turn. And the reason why people have a stroke like this, because slightly down to the right and too fast, and they go slightly down to the left, slightly down to the left, and the moment they're ready to turn, it's already too late. They're supposed to turn right up here, but they're moving too fast, so they go all the way here. Just like in McDonald's parking lot, if you keep at 95 miles per hour, you're not going to turn into McDonald's parking lot. You're going to hit McDonald's right on and get into an accident, and then going over that other parking lot right here. So with curve, you have to remember exactly like driving. You have to slow down. And for left-handed people, remember, just switch it. Just always switch it. Your favorite angle must be to the left and all the way down, or even up. But when you come to the right, you have to flip your client hand over. That is if you want it to be easy for you. Or you can turn your angle like this, which is a little tricky, but worth practicing just for a rainy day. So those are direction. That is step number 6, direction and curve angle and straight angles. You have to actually be aware of what you're doing. And most people that do line work, the reason why they do a bad line work, not because your hand suck or your hand is shaky or tremble. No, it's just because you haven't known this stuff and you're not aware of what you're doing. Right now, I hope that with the speeding, you are well aware of where you're going. And when you curve, remember my voice in your ear, slow down, or else you're gonna get into an accident. It's plain and simple, just like driving. Now, and of course, when you're a good driver, then you can go 95 miles per hour in the McDonald's parking lot. That'd be perfectly fine. You can go fast and furious as long as you have many years of experience. Now, the seventh step is surfacing. So on surface, shiny top coat on the surface is more difficult than matte top coat, but nobody know why. So I want to give you an example on shine or matte. Okay, would you give me that cute little ball, rock salt ball right there?
On or off?
So I have here with me a nice glass surface right here. I would say it's not like shadowish, but it is. But just pretend like it's nice and shiny. So when you take a pen and try to draw over it, you should try that at home. You will find that it's impossible to draw a straight line. It's so slippery. Just like you ever walking on a slick tile? Most likely you fall, especially when the feet is wet, just like a brush wet with gel. Most likely you trip over and fell. So on a slick, shiny surface like this, it's almost impossible to keep your stability. It's so slippery. Does it mean that you can't? No, you can if you be careful. Sometimes, most often, I do attempt to draw over a shiny surface, but when it's happened, my live audience have noticed that I'm very tense and I'm very focused, because at that point I have to watch where I'm going because I don't want to slip. You know what I mean? If I want to do a straight line, I have to really watch my pen. I have to really anchor it to try to do a straight line, or else I'm going to swerve. Now, a matte surface is porous. It's not slippery and shiny. I hate to do in this pen. Let's take a crappy one. That do it. A slick Z is not a slick surface. Z is a sandpaper surface. A matte surface is porous, and you want to draw over it. Yeah, you can. It's catching you. Of course, you can do a straight line over a matte surface because matte surface is not slippery. Your brush can go and it's help your brush more stable, and that is a reason why people most often like to paint and draw on matte. It's just that until this day, not a lot of people know the true answer to the usage of matte top coat. So now you know the purpose of matte. It's just like you're walking on a concrete floor. You can run, you can jump, you might not likely will fail, but you try to walk on a slick, oily floor, on a tile floor, you will fall on your ass if you go too fast. So you have to remember that is a great example for shine and matte. Matte is gain traction for you. It make you not slipping. So that is surfacing. That is number 7. Now number 8, a perspective.
So it'd be like an ink pen works beautifully on paper because it's porous, but never on metal or glass.
Right. It's too slippery. Now, perspective are one of the most important things, and these are the knowledge that I developed about a couple years ago when I started teaching in a one-on-one basic, because one of my gifts is able to detect people bad habit. And about a couple years ago, I have decided to take this person and train them. And in the process, I have noticed one crucial thing is the human perspective, especially when it comes to drawing. So I want to draw a flame. So I take our flame, and before I start a flame, I draw a span for it. And then I draw on the lower bottom half, and I tell him to dissect this meaning this is a sway. Okay, let me take a piece of papers. A sway is like this. And I tell him that this is a curve. That is all the stroke that you need for flame. So I do a little sway for him. Down the bottom, I tell him to make sure this is a nice curve. And then I tell him that from this side, just do a curve, don't do a sway. And on here, I told him, let's go ahead and do a sway. Let me zoom in. I told him, let's go ahead and do a sway for me. Over on this side too, do another sway. On here, you want a little curve. And one more curve out here. And then give me another curve. Another curve. And then I fill it all in. So I told him, this is the first thing that you need to do. Okay, so let me fill it in real quick, and then I will show you what he did. And what he did is very interesting. I have black gel on here. Okay, so this is what he did.
Drink first.
Thank you. Now, I tell him to draw, and this is what he did. So first, he made a line. And then this is what he did. So he do a sway for me, right? So he automatically go down and slant right away. So I say, slow down. What's happening? But it's just in my head. I'm trying to watch him to see what he's doing. And this point, he do a curve. And of course, this is not a curve. You see a little divot right here. He didn't notice it. And then I say, okay, curve in. He go ahead and curve in. Okay, this is not a sway. And then he go ahead and curve in right here. And then at this point, he already noticed. He's like, it's ugly, isn't it? I say, no, keep going. And he go ahead and do a curve on here. And he colored in. So now it doesn't, I mean, it looked like a flame fish, but I immediately stop him. And I start to take our palettes and I show him this. I say, okay, so you have problem with perspective. So we are using a brush, a nail brush. I say, I want you to do this for me. And know that I tell him to use a brush, not a pen, just so I can study his motion. And he'll go here and here. And you know what's happened? He go too fast. He go too fast at the moment. He come here, he just turn, but he go over here. And when I say turn now, he go drop. So that is way too fast, and it's not this pretty, by the way. It's shaky. But when I tell him to do a curve, the same thing happened. He go, and then he curve, like he go to here, and then he curve. It's just not even. So I start breaking it down for him. Let's say a sway and a curve. Let me break down the detail for you, a direction. Okay, first stop is a sway. A sway is you going down a straight line. You slant it. And then you're going down again. And I told him, do this for me. And he did. He did this. He'll go straight line. He goes slant. And he go down. And he was a little frustrated because he don't understand the purpose. He's like, this is so easy. You know, just down, slant down. So after a couple of times, I told him, now, instead of going down, lift your brush. Slant, lift your brush. Straight, lift your brush. Now, I want you to hold your brush in the same place. Don't lift it, just slowly turn it. So you're going down. Come here, you slow down, and you slowly turn to the left, and you slow down, and you slowly turn to the right. At any given moment that you're about to turn, the speed have to be super slow. This take 2 hours. This take 2 hours because he will go down. He like, am I turning now? Am I turning now? I said, yes, turn. Like he like, oh. So we go again. I like, am I turning now? Yes, turn. And he's like, what happened? He was freaking out, panic. I say, no, turn now, turn. And sometimes it's like this. So his speeding is way too fast because he was impatient. And impatient is one of the biggest problem. People say, oh, my line work takes so slow. It takes so slow for me to do line work. Not really. You are moving too fast. Otherwise, it takes you forever. You have to actually slow down at specific time in order for you to perform these strokes. And same with a curve. A curve is slanted, going down, and slanted again. And after you practice that, you start to move in a fluid motion, slant all the way down and slant. Easy at that. So now it is time to do a flame. So again, at this point, I took the brush from him because he's not ready for a nail brush. At the point, I give him a pencil and say, do this. And at the point, he even more confused. He's like, I know how to use a pencil. I say, no, not really. Do this for me. So now we do it in the flame. And when it comes for a sway, this is what I want him to do. I want him to go down, to slant, to go all the way down, and then slant it again, and then go flat, slant it again, straight, and then slant it up to the left. Now, next, I told him to stay this way. Follow this, but go out a little bit. Down, slant it down, and then you don't curve in. You slant it down, and then you start to slope it a little more to flow with the line. Oh, that takes him forever because when he loved to turn all the way in. And when he turned all the way in like this, you see the difference. You see the angle right here. While right here, there's no angle, it's fluid. Oh, that's the hardest thing for him because he moved way too fast. So again, space it out, going down, slant, and then start to slant down. So you flow with the span right here. And this right here, I told him, slant it to the left, going down, slant it to the right. And at this point, is his biggest problem. Let me finish this one a little bit. His biggest problem is this point because I say this area right here have to be smooth, meaning from here to here all the way. See how it round? Oh, it is so hard for him. At that point, it was like 10 p.m. It is so hard for him because when he turned like this, and I said, I want everything to be smooth. And he go like this, and then he go like this, and it just never becomes smooth. So at that point, I told him, don't look at the flame, look at the background. Because this is what actually happening. Let me make sure I color in. I'm gonna be a little sloppy right here. Okay, so at this point, let's say the flame is black. I told him, don't look at the black flame. Don't look at the line. It distracts you. At that point, look at the background. Look at the pink. And at that point, I need to repeat to him a few times for he to actually comprehend it. I say, don't look at the line that you're drawing. Look at the background. Do you see that sharpness? I want it to be smooth. Do me a curve. And that's when after a few try, he started to get it. He started looking at the background instead of the black flame that he's drawing, and slowly smooth it down. So the background can be nice and smooth. I told him, flame doesn't have angle. Flame only have smoothness and curve everywhere. That is your first homework on how to master shape and proportion and how to flow, because curve is more difficult than straight line. So that is my homework for him. The next day he walked in with confidence. He's, cock of the walk, like drawn the flame just so fast and beautiful. And then what he did, because I trained him for a week, because I know what's gonna happen in between. So then I would spend the rest of the day study something else, study acrylic, study 3D. He like 3D and all that, right? No. And then the next day, I don't go over the flame with him. I go over something else like ombre, glitters, encapsulation. So that's 2 days we have him practicing. So I know he didn't practice at home. So guess what? The third day I say, draw me a flame again. Guess what? Right back to the jankiness. Right back to whatever it is that I see the first day. Right back to this. Immediately right back to this. And he don't understand. He's so frustrated. He said, why? I don't know why. I thought that I was succeeding. I said, yes, you were succeeding on understanding me. You were succeeding on know what I tried to tell you, and you actually do it yourself. But you see, before all this magical thing happened in between us, you spent, I don't know how long, 5-10 years doing bad things like this. You spend all them years building your skill, a bad muscle memory that haunted you for years, and you have to struggle so much mentally to even understand what I'm trying to tell you, and you successfully done it in 1 day. So what happened the next day when you don't practice? You went right back to the bad muscle memory. So I told him that in order for you to succeed mastering this new knowledge, you have to keep the brain connection every single day for a week, for a month, forever, how long it takes you to get rid of your bad memory, your bad muscle memory, because it's still in you. And it's stronger than what I taught you, because what I taught you are fragile, are delicate. What I taught you is a strong dose of medicine. So it's required your brain to work so hard to even try to comprehend this. So when you don't practice, you will go right back to it. So that what I try to convey for him is, beside understanding, you have to practice too. That is how you looking at a design in a new perspective, like a French tip. Like a French tip, let's say I have a nail tip like this. Like a French tip, people often have problem with curving French tip because they move too fast and they curve too fast. All you need to do is slow down, looking at the structure of the design, and know that you can always start out with a straight line. It's easy for you to like, oh, this side a little shorter, like add a little more to it. Then you know that at the bottom of the front is flat. So have the bottom in. Then you do know that it's not, don't look at the design, look at the background. You see this sharp edge right here, you have to curve it. So another straight line, and then now you can just blend it together into a French tip. That is, if you starting out and you have a problem with proportion, now you can start blending it all out, nice and curved. See that now you understand the French tip, and after a couple more practicing, then you can start skipping all that prep, and you can start going slow down, slow down, slow down. At this point, it's flat. People have problem with that. That's why I go down, and when they're ready to turn, it too late. you know, at this point in the middle of the nail right here, that point, that is when you to curve all the way across. And remember, if you go too fast, you're going to end up over on this side. At this point right here, the going across is stop, and then you have to keep going up like this all the way. See, at this point, I'm still going a little too fast. All the way. So now I am going to draw a French tip on the nails, and I want you to practice it. So first, let's do an easy French tip. Let's take white out. Okay, let's take out a 20 millimeters. And I'm going to do an easy structural French tip first. So this is my center. I go straight down, slanted right in the center. And then straight down. And these are not you performing, this is just you practicing to test your understanding of structure and perspective. All the way down. Now slanted, and now slanted right here, just to make sure that everything you do is symmetrical. And then you can start curving. With curving, I require 10 millimeters. Now you can start blending it together, all the different strokes. And this stroke too. Extremely slow. Slow down extremely slow in order for you to catch the symmetrical of it. So let's do a French tip all the way. This, after you practice in your perspective, then you can go back and try to do a fluid motion. Fluid motion, you can start going down and slow down. At this point, you need to shift your angle, slightly curve, slightly curve. At this point, you need to go extremely slow, even take rest in between. Now you need to go up, and you can mark it right here. That's when to stop, so you can keep your eye on it. And then now you start to do a sharp curve, like a U-turn. All the way. And then you can start fill in. After you fill in, you can see the French in the more detail to see which one you need to smooth out a little more. So let's fill it all in. And then now you examine your French tip, and let's see, you might need a little bit right here. There. And then you can just fill everything in. Let's use a flat brush. And then I will show you how to cheat too. Just like that. And then you can also do it this way. Cheat a little bit. Now, what you can do is tell your client to flip a hand over, and you can do this. You can start right in the middle, and you can curve. Now you already have the curve. You can start painting the other side on another curve. And then all you need to do is smoothing this over, which you can take your time in this step. So that is about perspective. Another thing that I want to point it out for you is which side to draw first. Let's say, let me think of a design right here. Okay, let's do like an hourglass design. Okay, so let's say if I'm a type of person that I like to draw from the right, So I finished my curve. If I want something that asymmetrical at that, when I draw on my left, guess what happened? My right is cover me. So now I don't see whatever on my right. So it will be very difficult for me to perform this curved line and keep an eye on this line. You know what I mean? Because my right hand is covered this side already. So when you do line work, my most preferred angle is always on the left first, like this. I always like to do the left. And after I do the left, when I do my right, I can keep an eye on my left to make sure that I am symmetrical because I am right-handed. So after I do my left, on the right, I can see this. So if you're left-handed, it's the other way. If you're left-handed, then it's important for you to do the right first and then do the left. So that is another perspective that you should be aware of. Now, after this, I want to give you 3 homeworks. Homework number 1 is color blocking. Homework number 2 is curved line. And homework number 3 are baroque painting. And so let's take our 3 nails. And let's go ahead and mix some colors. I want yellow and I want this color, yellow and brown. Let me see. Oh, magenta and blue. Yeah, let's go with yellow and brown. Okay. Let me think here. Or should I go with magenta and halo? Okay. Let's go with magenta and halo. So I want this color right here. And this color are constructed by magenta and halo. So I'm going to choose this color, but I want it to be lightest. So having magenta color out and halo color out. (50-50). And then I want to make it a lot lighter than this. So I will have my pigment base and lighten it up. Okay, just like this. Now let's make it lightest. Oh, and by the way, the color mixing chart are also available on the website already on the color category. And it's in the bundles. In the gels bundle, you will see the mixing chart. Okay, so now it's a beautiful nude. Let's go ahead and paint all 3 nails. I will use a flat brush first. So this is a brush that I choose, flat brush. And this homework is for you to practice so you can repeat as many times as you want. And try to do it identical as me first, and then you can experiment with different styles. So let's paint it nude first. Everything's nude. Hear this. Hear this. First thing I want to do is color blocking, which involve a lot of straight line. And since you already know all the steps, and hopefully that you take some notes too. If you forgot to take notes, you can watch the live again and take some notes. And the first thing is always to lay in your bed at night and trying to learn the formula first before you even pick up that brush. And when you're ready, remember to practice hovering your pressure first. Don't dive into design immediately. You have to practice all your pressure, the movement, the direction. You have to know which surface to paint on, all that before you do this homework that I give you. Okay, and now I hope that you remember what I say about surfacing is that matte is always better than shine. So I'm gonna matte my surface using this. Okay. Now put matte on. Clear this. Let's go ahead and put a little pigment into this now. This one gonna be for curved lines. Since magenta and halo make brown, I should follow that scheme with pigments. Magenta and yellow. And then let's add a little bit of white in it too. And a little more magenta. Now, knock it off. Let's do this one right here. Or this one. By the way, pigment, later on we will have a live for pigment too. So you can learn about mixing pigment, about blending pigment, which a lot of people struggle with. And until this day, a lot of nail masters also struggle with mixing pigment, how to make it nice and cohesive like this. And I will pass on this knowledge on the next live. I'm trying to debate, should I do pigment live first or live on brown ink first, so you can learn about ink.
Ink is easier to learn, I think.
Okay, now, yes, I know, but brown ink have several effects that I want to pass on, and none of them know about this special effect that I pass it on for ink. Because remember that our ink is not marble ink. Our ink is very close to calligraphy ink. And calligraphy ink are very strong and it can stay on a large surface. So you have to choose a proper surface and you have to choose proper application to achieve certain effects on ink. Now, let's go ahead and put matte on this too. Since matte background are very suitable for line work. Remember, you don't want to walk on a slick floor. You do want to walk on a porous cement floor. So matte will help you with that. Hear this. Now, let's start first. Let's do color block first. So I have with me some black gel, some black art gels. I am gonna start to do some straight lines. So I would like to use a 20mm first. And remember, when your brush is bent like this, you just take your finger and smooth it back. Since you always condition your brush with gel, you never clean this and just put on the cap. You always wipe it so gel can condition your brush so it's nice and stay in shape. Now put the pigment back. Take this out. All right, let's do some line work. So I am gonna have some black gel right here. Clean this first. And remember what we're talking about. Black gel, load it in. Load it into your brush first to make sure everything runs smoothly. Everything is flowy. Now, stroke it out. Let's do a line that are straightforward, straight across. And even though the line that are straight across is shorter, I still prefer to use a 20mm because it's allowing me to reach more versus because going down are very easy, but going straight across are very hard, especially if your client finger are curvy. So with that, I like a longer preach to help me to be in control. Let's do a series of thin line first, and then we can worry about certain thickness later on. See, it's like sketching, by the way. I'm gonna sketch out first. I'm gonna put in colors, then I might go back with line again. So let's, from here, on down here too. Then from here, come down, yeah, and then here, parallel to this, here, parallel to this, and here, going down from here, then look curve, and look curve. Now I am going to erase some details, putting the brush aside, and I will use a filler brush. And remember, a filler brush is a stroke brush. It's a flat brush. It's just very tiny. I'm gonna take some acetone, and I'm gonna remove some of the detail, like the one in the middles. I want it to be completely empty, so I can put color in it. Run all the way through very slowly. Then now you can erase whatever it is inside, and if you stand the inside a little bit, no worry, because gel color is very opaque. It will cover up the standing part. Let's erase this line right here. Okay, now go ahead and cure if I'm happy with it. Let's see. Okay, I'm happy with it. Go ahead and cure. So now we're gonna fill in colors. So that is gel pen. So I do want to demonstrate another part that gel pen does. So I'm gonna take out turquoise and pink. Take out my spatula and scoop a little pink over here. And a little turquoise over here. Okay. Now with a flat brush, I am gonna paint turquoise in one side and pink on the other side. Turquoise here. And this is still gel pen. I haven't moved on to polish yet. So far you see gel pen used at line. Now you're gonna see a vertical ombre using gel pen. Some pink here. And then you can clean your brush. You can clean it entirely so it's have no gel left. And then you can move from side to side, rock from side to side with gel pen. And remember, gel pen are very thick, so it doesn't go away when you're doing that. You know, with polish, you might end up with all kind of streak. So now you can use gel pen to brush over, and because of this opacity, look how nice it's turned out because the gel pen is refused to go. You know what I mean? So it sticks very well on the surface. So now you have a nice even ombre surface. You can take some solvent like alcohol or acetone and you can do a gleam across. And all these are just straight line. We haven't stepped into the other one yet. Your first homework that you have to do is straight line. I'm going to do some pink here. And then some pink here. So when it comes to gel pen, make sure that if you choose to fill, you choose a flat brush, not a pointy brush. A flat brush is always better. Stroke it lightly. Now, if you use a liner brush for it, it'll be slightly thicker. That's why I love to use a flat brush. Brush it all the way. Flip it over. Do the same thing here. Rocking from side to side and then brush it down, just like this. And our pink art gel is currently sold out, so it will be arrived, I say, in about a month. It will be arrived. All right, now let's be done with gel pen. Let's move on to gel polish. Oh, let's go ahead and use a filler brush too, so you know how to use it. Filler brush with a little pink gel. Let's do that. Let's paint this inside here pink. See, you stroke it because it's a flat brush. I just stroke it to make sure that's nice and thin. See that? Cover small spaces. And remember, you always can cleanse it. If you go out of line, you can always cleanse it. Here. Now, let's mix and umber colors. I want this color right here. I want blue. I can say aqua. This is aqua. And aqua, I want to go ahead and mix with brown. I want to have these colors. So I take out brown, these gel colors, brown, and aqua gel colors. Have some brown out. And then have an equal amount of aqua. It can be more or less. Know that your tone, it will change slightly. So each tone, you can do like 10 different shades if you like to adjust the amount. And then you can always lighten up with white. Now mix it all together. Blue and brown. Beautiful. Nice little umber colors. Now I am going to use it to paint. For gel polish, you more than feel free to use the 7 or 5 millimeter. Remember what we discussed, this brush, since it's sensitive to your hand pressure, especially the 7 and 5 right here, it's very easy to fill because it can be heavy if you want it to. I think right here too. Very easy. It's picking up color very well. I love short brush. Rather than a long brush, I only use for line. But short brush, I love to use it for filling. Let's go ahead and cure this. And let's go ahead and mix an orange. I want an orange, but not as deep. I am going to mix yellow and orange together. I'm taking out orange and I'm taking out yellow. Do orange first. And then yellow. Mix it together. Now, let's go ahead and fill in this part. Fill this into here. Now let's do some black. And I am gonna use my shadows. And remember that 168 different color that you can mix out of just 12 color bottles, that is just gel. And remember that color are also pigment friendly. And we have about 12 different shades of neon pigments, and then 5 different shades of primary colors. That combination should bring it up to 1,000 easily on colors, or even mix it into 1,000 different shades of colors. Okay, now plus put some black on. Put some black here. Then I am gonna color this in with black too. See, if you use the right brush, you will find that everything is so easy. And if you understand the pressure, you understand your direction, you know where to turn, you discover that all your life, if you're insecure about your hand being shaky, it's not really that. It's just how you think and the knowledge that you have been provided with line work. So with the new knowledge, you'll find that it's very, very easy to do. And when I fill, another thing is I love to fill in the middle first. And then with my brush nice and clean, I will go over the edge to trace it. Slowly go out over the edge. That to me is way easier. See, I just slap a little gel in the middle first, and then I just slowly going out. And that way you don't have to reload your gel because it's already in the middle. You can just spread it out like this. Kisses. Then after that, if you want to be done with that, you can. However, if you want it to be a little more advanced, what our master do is we put on matte top coat and we retrace the details. More advanced means you can charge more money because it's more professional, it's more sharp cutting than the typical line work, which only done in one layer like that and you're done. And if you want a more sharp cut, I will go over with details. So as I say, the first black line is sketching. Now, I will go ahead and take matte top coat and apply all over. Just like this. Just to level everything out. And remember, we learned about number 7 is surfacing. Is that matte top coat is always better than shine because of the traction that is gaining. So matte in. And remember, when you go over this homework, it's always important for you to go with exact step first, exact colors, and then you can venture out. This is lesson number 1, is line work. It's symmetrical line work. Now, after it's done, I am going to go over first with white. So with white art gel, pick up a little more art gel. Roll it in. Remember that, how to load. Remember, you have to go through every single step that I taught for you to be able to master line works. Now, go in here, and I want to line this right here with white. And then I want to line this part with white too. Make it symmetrical. Then I follow the groove right here. Then give another line. Same thing, follow the groove right here. Give another line. Cross from here. Give another line. Cross from here. Give another line. Then I will use my 10mm brush to fill in, or you can even use a 7. Same thing over here. Remember, always take time to use the right brush that is make you comfortable. Now over here, I want to put in some white over here. And then another line over here. Same thing. And to fill in with a bigger surface, what you can do is you can take gel polish after you already outline. You can take gel polish, apply it in. Then you can take a shorter brush, like a 7mm, and take some polish and fill it in. So it's nice and smooth. And always tell your client to flip a hand over so it's easy for you. Always make your life easier. Just like this. Now, cure this. Then I am gonna give it one fine black line just to make everything nice and sharp. That will make that line work more expensive. So the freedom is yours. You can either have a quick line work or a more professional line work, especially when you want to produce work that you want to post on social media. You always have to reach for perfection. Now let's do some black art gel, and remember that this live is a structured live, it's an organized live, so we will not respond to any comments, so it doesn't confuse our viewer later on when they rewatch it.
But there will be question and answer at the end.
Yes. Now I'm gonna go straight first. So this is one final fine-tune and detail that we did. A lot of nail masters are doing it like that for social media and with clients that were willing to pay for perfection. If not, you can always do a quickie that also works for some clients, depending on what they're looking for. Especially on social media, you always need perfection. I have a lot troll friends sometimes. Sometimes some of my friends are troll and they love to give me advice. If they see like a stroke that are misfit, they will point it out immediately. So I love to reach for perfection to please all my troll friends. they want to help me get better. So anytime that I want to post something, I always have to be perfect. And I also do this side too, just to make it sharper. And let's take a smaller brush. Let's use a 7 millimeters. And I would say a black line across here. Okay, now after I'm satisfied with everything, I'm gonna go ahead and clear. So remember, your first homework, focus on your straight line, focus on your long straight line, your short straight line, and now we're gonna do curve. So I have this now with me. Now, still with the 20 millimeters, I am gonna perform some curved line. And remember that we're talking about the speeding and the direction when it comes to curve. Don't forget that is number 6 in my step. And remember we have 8 different steps, and this number 9 is homework. Let's start out with thinner line first. See, there's so many different directions that this go. So I have to slow it down. Now over here, curve, always practice second because it's harder than straight line.
Straight helps build your control.
Straight line are easier. It's the first step that people do because it's one direction. Curve is multiple direction, so it's help with your speed. So when people first do straight line, they can go as fast as possible. And so that's what you should practice first because it's easier. Then you move on to curve, which you need to pressure and speeding. Now, I am gonna go over with my 10 millimeter to adjust the volume of the line for 10 millimeters. Remember that in line work, contrasts are very important and very desired, because when you draw a bunch of lines, it confuses the eye. The eye doesn't know where it's looking at. So if you have contrast, meaning thicker line, thinner line in between, it will guide the eye. It will help it spot differences easier. And 10 millimeter I use because it's more sensitive to my hand pressure. Remember what we studied earlier about pressure? Just press and then go, and remember to look at the line, not at your brush. Look at the line to see if it's still thick or it's getting thinner. If it's getting thinner, that means you have to adjust your pressure a little more to make it thicker. Now I am going to use the 7 millimeter for some small lines. And remember, 7 and 5 is much harder because now your hand pressure really will affect it. On a longer brush, it's more given than on a shorter brush. And I talk why I'm doing line because I do it for a while, but remember that when you're doing line, you want to avoid chit chat and you want to breathe a little more deeper so your shoulder and chest doesn't move. The reason why I don't go through the breathing much to the breathing because it's not very important. What important is you need the core structure of line work. But that was smart people advice is to try to watch out for your breathing, or some people say don't breathe, but those are very minor detail when it comes to line work. Training your muscles for line work is very important, and that is a lot of information that you should learn today. So you have to remember, don't dive into it immediately because it can seriously mess you up. Always try to learn the information first, go through the theory first, and then when you're ready, that's when you dive right into it.
So memorize the steps, then practice.
Yes. Yes, and that's a lot of steps to memorize, and not just memorize, but understand. That's why you do it at night, because it's more peaceful and relaxing to learn. Cutest. Now, third step is Baroque line work that I want to go through with you guys. And that is a more difficult version, more difficult than the straight line and more difficult than the curved line But one thing that easy about the Baroque is you don't have to worry about symmetrical. You don't have to worry about symmetry. You only worry about pressure. Hear this. Go ahead and match this too. Okay. All right. So let's do some Baroque line work. First, I am gonna push some shine it on and buff it because I want to chrome this. I always want to chrome my Baroque. Now, this is what I want you to do first. And the first day, this is not what you practice in the first day. The first day, what you need to go through is body stability. That only is step number one, and that's only step that you need to learn on the first night. Tonight, go over only one step is body stability. That's require you to sit at your table and feel things out for the first time. Remember, don't cross your leg. Everything is grounded. The leg is grounded so your body can be freely moved. Then left hand or your pressure is grounded to the left side. And remember to lay your hand on the table because when you're using elbow and holding your client hand, you can move left, right, back and forth. If you lay your hand down, your client couldn't go up and they couldn't go right or go left. That is called death grip. You grip them so you're in control of their movements. And then remember forearms and remember ankle fingers. So this is body stability and the triple lock that you need to study first on the first night. And then the second night you move on to tour because now you need to take your tour out and learn about 10 and 20 millimeters, which is reaching further distance with less range of motion and lighter pressure. And then you can go to the 5 and 7 millimeters, which more range of motion but sensitive to your hand pressures. And it can go really deep if you wanted to for take a line. And then a third night, you can actually take the gel out now. Be patient. Wait until the third night to take the gel out and learn about material and gel pen. When to use gel pen, when to use gel polish due to its cell level ability and non-cell level ability. And then the fourth night, that is when you learn how to load gel. How you don't just stroke it first, but do the twist and stroke at the same time. And then after you learn about loading gels, then that's when you learn about pressure, and pressure will take a week to practice because remember the first step is hover with light pressure, then run your brush with light pressure. Then the third step is hover with deep pressure, and then the fourth step is to hover with deep pressure and then run with deep pressure. And the fifth step is to switch pressure from deep to light. And that is what we do now is a Baroque stroke. It's to switching from deep to right. And then after that, you can start to explore about your direction, about how you have to switch your angle each time you want to turn. And then you have to learn about curve. And that's when you explore more about surfacing, about perspective, do the flame first. And then after about 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully, or a month of doing this, then you can start to practice your homework right here, which is 3 different kind of line work: symmetrical line work, the curved line work, and now the Baroque. So I am going to perform Baroque line work by adjusting my pressure from deep to light. Now first, let me explain thoroughly about how the structure of the Baroque pattern works. Now, for Baroque, you start out very simple. You started with deep pressure, and then you do a comma right here. And then you repeat it one more time. Now, at this point, you don't want to keep going at the same pattern like this. Then that wouldn't be attractive. What you want is opposite pattern. That's why it's more attractive. So now it's curved this way. You need to curve the other way. Go down. And then you might have another one to intensify the thickness. And then you might drag it out. And then do another one opposite from this. See that? It's curved and opposite from each other. And then you might do another one. See, this curve this way, this curve this way. It's opposite. But then when it come in, it's going with the flow. And then you can add a few more detail in between. So let's start the Baroque line work. Now remember when we talk about switching pressure in between. And remember, today I'm not too chit-chatty because I'm very serious, because this is a very powerful dose of medicine. And remember, you have to be extremely focused when you go over your homework, because you don't want to be messed up. Each and every detail is very intricate, and if you misunderstood certain detail, it can certainly mess you up in your line work. It will not be as efficient as you want it to be. Now, 10 millimeters, what I'm using, or you can use the 7 millimeter. It's your choice. Remember, after you practice, you can feel your brush more. Actually, I like to use metal fat gel because it's chrome better. It's the gel for chrome. Remember, lift your pressure. That is what you're practicing on your direction, and your pressure is not lifted. And I already show you how to train on your pressure. So remember, when you're rewatching the live, pay attention to the part to where you learn how to train on your pressure. And then start out, of course, when I first start out, I only last for 10 seconds, but try to get to a minute. That is when you can fully master your pressure well, is when you get to about a minute of hovering. And remember, the hovering practice are extremely important. And remember, learn how to load in these steps are extremely important because you don't want to run out of gel in the middle of the process. You see, it's a reverse stroke where it start out thin and it's end up thick. You can also practice that too. The more you practice, the better. It's important for you to know how to do everything. These is a free form of line works, and when you master that stroke, and the whole thing, it just requires one style of stroke. That's it, one way of stroking, and you just repeat it. It's like doodling. So when you master this form of pressure, right, you can find that you will love this baroque a lot because it's three styles. It's not specific, and you can just go for hours with different pattern. You don't have to be symmetrical. You fall in love with this if you practice and get it down. But remember, don't jump ahead of yourself. Always start with homework number 1, and then you can start with homework number 2, and then this homework number 3. But before you start with the line work homework, do the flame first. Remember the flame when I talk about perspective? Do the flame first so you can learn about its perspective. How you view a design is very important because when it comes to portrait, that is all you require is know how proportion work and how you view an object, how you view a face. Okay, this. That's why when people ask about before when they ask about cartoon painting or character painting, I just do it. I just stop doing it. But oh my God, you go so fast. Can you teach me how to do line work? How you do the eye and the eyelash? I just laugh it up because I know that is not where they need to start. Where they need to start is the basic code of line work. Because now, after training this code of line work, and it will take you at least a month to complete or even longer. But after that, that is a time when you go into cartoon first, something easy, and then you can go into portrait, into something more serious. So that's why when I do in cartoon and portrait, I kind of just laugh it up, and I just do it, and I just chat about it. I just chat about author subject, like what movie I watch this weekend or what food do I like to eat, because I know that is not where you started. You have to start it somewhere that it makes sense to you before you dive into more complex stuff. You have to understand your line that you're making.
What you're providing for them today.
Mm-hmm. So the lesson today is very important. It's basically the first step you need to take and for you to completely dive into the world of art, where because I do have technique where I learn where you just depend on product, but you also need a skill. You need to know how to control your brush and control your line. So let's say you do a portrait of a movie star, which is all about proportion, line work, and shading. It's more technical, and then the background of the movie star can be like flame or firework, where it's all special effect that you can learn by depending on your product. So you need to know how to do everything. It's very important. Let's chrome this. That's why when I do cartoon or character painting, I just consider that a demo, and I don't consider that a lesson, because that's really where should I start? You know what I mean? When I dive into painting like a Pokemon, where should I start? You know, should I start at the part where I'm talking about body stability? Should I start the part at where I'm talking about tool or material or loading gel or pressure or direction or perspective? Or should I just start painting the Pokemon? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the lesson today, remember, is very, very important. Studies it well.
Because using the techniques and understanding them will help you with deciding which lines to draw first when doing anything.
Exactly. Exactly.
Which will also help them with their proportions.
Yes. And now let's go ahead and mat this to secure this, and then we can return the shine to this. When you practice it, you don't have to chrome this or anything. I just like to chrome it because it's pretty when it chrome. But when you practice, you can just practice the direction and the shape of this. This chrome and coloring is extra for later on. Now, I am going to trade the shine back that the chrome that have been matte. I'm going to trade back with the shine. So notice which brush I'm using because it's very important. And then tomorrow, we will go back to our normal life. When I sit down and do a bunch of different design and technique. But when I bump into a line, you should know now. You need to go back and learn your lesson before you dissect into those lines. If I do a pumpkin and then carve other eye, now you should know, right? You should know that's a curved line, that is straight line. Now you should even know what brush I'm using. So let's say a brush like 20 millimeters. Let's say that. I am going to put some shine on. Okay. Let's say I use a 20 millimeter brush. When I soak it in, I have a lot of top coat in the head, but look at what it does. Do you see it start to drip back into the body? See that? See that? And then now the head have no gel left. So that is a reason why I use a 7 or the 5. Because when you submerge it, look at the head. Look at the head. See that? See that? See how it's holding the top coat? Isn't that amazing? Use that. Do the 7 millimeter. I always do it when I work with liquid gels. That's why when I doing this, when I tracing, don't think that it's a lot of work, because remember about the pressure. It's a lot of work if people doesn't adjust the pressure well and the top coat is running all over the design. But if the pressure is light, all you need to do is lightly touch it and it will shine up your detail right away. See how easy it is. after you completely learn about these line work, you will find that, but sometimes when people seeing nail artists on Instagram produce wonderful work, intricate amount of work, they be able to charge a lot money, $300-$400 set. It seems very tangible, it seems very far away, but you will know that after you learn this technique about line work and after you master it, how to control your brush through training, you will find that those are very reachable. It seems like the light at the end of the tunnel is closer and closer because now you have confidence. Now you can draw whatever you like. Imagine the feeling of being able to draw whatever you like. When is the last time you see me practice? Really, when I see a character I like, I just schedule a line immediately and I dive right into it. Because even though I don't draw that character before, I carry the knowledge of proportion with me. I carry all the knowledge of line work with me. I can dive into pretty much anything I want. And after you master this line work, you will be able to see that the light of the tunnel is very close, almost can reach it. All right. So remember, these are your homework. But remember, before you learn in your homework, before you practice in your homework, you have to complete all the steps. And I would write it down. I would write this down. So if you have a pen and paper, you can write it with me. You can start writing with me if you have pen and papers. I will give you 5 minutes. Let's answer some questions first.
All right, question and answers. Fire away.
While I'm waiting for people to find a pen and papers. You're welcome, Alejandra.
Maybe they have no questions. Maybe you absolutely covered everything.
Yes, I should have covered every detail. Let me see. On a press on, not a client, how do you know where to start your curve line on the tip? For French tip, since you don't have a finger to guide you, so that is depend on the nail bed that you're looking for. If your client have short nail bed or long nail bed, however, deep French now today, they really don't care about the client nail bed, because if your client have a short nail bed, they're not going to do a short nail bed with a French tip. What they do is use a very good nude, like all the nude that I have, which is sold out, but through this color scheme of the color, you can mix your own nude, but they use a very good nude that cover up all the sheerness. So let's say a tip that are long like this, they can start the nail bed about going down to about half the nails. And then half of it will be French tip. And of course the groove will be very deep in here, because that will elongate people nail bed. That will make they feel sexy with long nail bed, as long as you are good nude to cover everything. So you don't, it's not see-through on you.
What kind of gels do you use?
What kind of gel? I use art gels for control, and then colors for fill in.
Why is 10 millimeter or longer best for long lines? Is it because of the brush's flexibility?
Yes, because have a string. Oh, let me use this. Because the brush is so long that where you're holding your brush versus the tip of your brush, when you lay it down, if you actually shake a little bit, all of this length right here will absorb all the impact. So absorb all the shaking, and if you actually going down and you pressure a little bit, see how it's bent? So it's give, so it doesn't, it take a long way for it to even reach to the brush tip. That's why they're amazing for long line, because you can take this and you can just drag it. See this? Brush versus if you use a short brush, what happened is it's stiff. It's stiff. So if you shake, guess what? Oh, it shake with you. And when you run, if you twirl, it will twirl with you. So a shorter brush really need a lot of control versus with a longer brush. What do you use to hold your tip stand when painting? I use glue dot from Amazon.
And where is the color chart located?
The color chart is located in the website in color bundle category, and I will search it for you. ✱ᴜᴜᴜᴜᴜ.shop. So on ✱ᴜᴜᴜᴜᴜ.shop, you go to gel polish right here. You click on gel polish, you see color. Of course, it has many categories, but the category you're looking for is colors, because it sounds exactly like the way I sound. Colors. You click on it. Now you go to bundle. See, this is a color chart, but what you're looking for is a color mixing chart. You click on the gel polish bundle, and in the gel polish bundle, you will find this is number 1. So all the color up here and all the color on the side. So when you pick a colors, all you need is to see aqua and then go across the pink. So half pink, half aqua. It will mix that color for you. So you can pick any color you like out, just 12 colors. And then this is the second list because it's long. It's 148 or 168 different colors. So down here is a little extra. It's pigment base, which is white. So you can, all this color can be mixed with white to make different colors. So it's not just 168 different colors. It's actually more than that. It just, that is a basic combination. It's 50-50. But later on, I will teach you how to mix 3 different colors together, 4 different colors together. Okay. Oh, any question?
Can Tino explain brush conditioning to everyone? I feel like
yes,
missed that part.
Yes. Brush conditioning. So when thank you. I do not want to skip that part. It's very important. Whenever you mix into a colors and you draw, and if you want to switch to another colors, this is what I do. I wipe it, and you can wash it with acetone or alcohol. So I wipe it first to remove all the gel, and then I dip it into the solvent to clean it out completely. So right now my brush doesn't have gel at all. What do? I dip into another color immediately. So I can jump from color to color, and if I jump from orange to black, then I don't need to wash my brush. I just need to wipe it because orange is a lighter color, so the black is stronger, so you're not going to see the orange. So sometimes I even skip cleaning. However, when I'm done for the day, when I'm done with my client, I take this brush. When I'm done with line work, I'm finished. I take this brush and I wipe it on a paper towel. After I do that, I do not cleanse it because there is still a little bit of gel right here. Look how sharp my brush is. What happened is a little bit amount of gel right here. It will stay in your brush and it will keep it moist. It will keep it conditioned. It will not dry out. If you dry it out like this and then you close the lid, what happened is your brush will sit in there all night long without any gel. It's like when you take a shower and then after you shampoo and all that, you just have all the dry, frizzy hair and you go to bed. And then wake up, you have horrible hair. You have bad hair day. And you don't want that. After you shampoo and blow dry, you need to put on conditioning for your hair, some oil for your hair, and your skin too. You need to put on lotion and all that just to keep everything moist and conditioned. Same with your brush. You don't want your brush to be dry and cracky. You don't want it to be cracky. You want it to be nice and moist like this. So what I do is when I'm done, I just wipe off the gels, but I don't wash it. I keep it nice and clean. And even sometimes when it bend, when I accidentally bend in the brush, You know, it's not the end of my brush because it has been conditioned all this time. So all I need to do is bend it right back. It's perfect. And that is how you condition your brush. And then the next day, when I wake up and I meet a new client, now I pull out my brush. Now my brush have gel in it. Now I can cleanse it. Now I can cleanse it so it's free of colors. And what I do is I dip into my color immediately. So your brush always have gel in it. Your brush always go with gel. The only time that it go without gel is only a few seconds. So that is how you keep your brush lasting, even for like almost a year. You can keep it for a very long time by knowing how to condition your brush. And the paper towel that I use, Aviva, which is very absorbing.
And let the stepdaughter know, Grace, that the color chart, she wants to know if you'll go over the color mixing on the next one.
On the next one, I'm thinking about pigment.
It's really 50-50 as far as the color mixes.
Yes.
And it's very simple. She just
yes.
Look on the website.
One day I will go over color theory. And color theories is not about this color chart. This color chart is just what I make for you, so you don't have to think hard. You can just pick a color right here.
50-50.
You can just pick a color, like let's say I'm picking this color right here. So these colors, and then you just find magenta, and then you find yellow. So yellow and magenta, and it's very simple. You just take out yellow and magenta, and then you have 1 drop of magenta, 1 drop of yellow. That's it. And then you start to mix it. 50-50. Now, it don't have to be exactly 50-50. Let's say if I'm adventurous and let's say I want a little more yellow. Let's say that. Because one shade, you can do many shades. So these are just 50-50, but you want a little more yellow, you can. See that? A little more yellow, you can. Or if you want a little more magenta, you can. So one of my shades that I mix, you can have many different levels, many different value of colors. See that? Just a little more magenta or a little more yellow. So the trick is 50-50. But one of these days, I will go over color theory. Now, color theory is not like color mixing. Color theory is for you to understand the colors of the basic primary colors and the basic secondary colors, what it means and what it do to a certain color when you mix it in, and the different value between black and white. And that I will go over that with a color theory class. Again, a very powerful dose of medicine. So I will not show in the live soon. I will let you a little bit of time on the line work first, because you really need to know line work first. And then we dive into pigment, which is a lot of people until today still haven't mastered pigment. They can do pigment and they know all the tricks to pigment, but the fade is not smooth, and that is a trick to it. A lot of nail masters until today still struggle with pigment. So I will go over the pigments for you.
Ashley also wants to know, how often should you replace your brushes? Since you sell brushes, I'm going to say every other day.
6 months.
And for the last nail, is there a reason you use metal effect rather than gel paint?
Yes, because metal effect gels is a gel that I make for chroming. And before, when we run out of metal effect gels, what happened is we use art gel for chroming, and many people are missing metal effect. All my customer is blowing my phone off for metal effect gel, because metal effect gel can deliver a very shiny result. It is the best for chroming. That's why I use metal effect gel.
So we don't need to add base coat for color mixing?
No, you don't mix it with anything but those colors. So color combined together. There is no top coat or base coat blending in at all. You just simply take those two colors and mix it together on the palette.
Little Lux wants to know, I'm sure you explained this, but for character designs, the art gel is used for the outline and gel polish to fill.
I need to go over that too. Thank you for reminding me. So when it comes to character painting, later on I will have a character painting live, and I will put that live inside line work too. However, I need to explain for you about the 3 elements of character painting. So when it comes to a character painting, it's required 3 elements, and even though these are not line work, these are very advanced version of line work. It how to construct the characters. Now, when it comes to character painting, 3 elements is, number 1 is art gel or gel pen, a thicker consistency of gel that allow you to do line work, to do small detail, to make shape appear to be sharper. So you need some thick gel that have well control. Now, and the opacity of it is also very important. Now, the second element is gel polish. Gel polish I use to fill when I paint over a large surface. What happens is it makes the surface smoother, easier. So I love to use gel polish to fill in between, like color by numbers. And third element is also very important. This is the hardest selling product that we have today. It's stained glass gel. Now, stained glass gel, what it do is that it's semi-transparent. So we use it a lot for shadowing, for shading. It can make a 2-dimensional character into a 3-dimensional character through stained glass gel. It's called a peekaboo gel. It's a gel that shows the background. So it's a very important third element when it comes to character painting. So again, details, filling, and shading. Can you please do a line on shading and light, and what tool or gel are better to use? Shading and light will be fitted into a character painting section, and yes, eventually we'll go over everything, but I figure that line work is the most important thing that people should know first. But a lot of wonderful nail artists here make press on summary. Yes, someone have to know. Okay, good. All right, are we done? I'm about.
You are 13 minutes on your 5 minutes you give them.
Okay, so now I am going to. I hope that by now you have pencil and papers. I am going to write a step down one more time for you to know. Now, first thing you need to learn in line work. So first thing is body stability. So in body stability, A is bottom body grounded. Let's go for your leg too. Make sure that legs touch the ground. Now B is left hand grounded. That is for a right hand person, and the right hand person is the left hand person is the other way around. So left hand grounded, and remember what's alive, so you know what I'm talking about. C is right hand anchors. And make sure that you watch the live. You know what I'm talking about. D is ring or pinky, fingers, anchors. I always use my ring, but some people are different. They use their pinky. Okay, so number 2 are tools. Again, after you watch the live, you can use this chart for like a flashback. So A is 20 millimeter. B is 10 millimeters. C is 7 millimeter. And D is 5 millimeters. Less range of motion. And then absorb impact. Absorb impact. More range of motion. Sensitive to pressure and impact. Sensitive to impact. Now, number 3, material. That's easy. Material are A, gel paint. B is gel polish. I will not put stained glass gel in here because these are the line work lessons. These are not a character painting lesson.
And what do you mean by range of motion?
Remember to watch the live to know what I'm talking about. Range of motion means along a brush you can go straight line or slightly curve, where a shorter brush, more range of motion, you can go straight, curve, twist, turn. You can draw like a pen. So you can turn and twist more, but it's shaky. If you're shaky, it will shake with you. Versus the longer brush, it's long, it's draggy, so it's easier for you to use, but you can only use a few range of motion, meaning straight line or slightly curve. Now, number 4 is loading gel, and this is very important. You have to rewatch the live several times to see this step right here on the way I loaded. A, it twists. B, or stroke. And remember, most people only stroke. Not a lot of people know about the twist, especially the ones that are not artists and the ones that are not painting. They're not familiar with the twist. So remember, twist is to load gel into brush, and stroke is to shape brush. Now, number 5, pressure. Remember, pressure, A is tip of the brush, light pressure. Thin line. B, thick, deep pressure. Thick line. C, switching pressure. Baroque line. 6, direction. Or brush angle. A, straight angle. switch finger position. B. Curve. Stroke. Slow down on speed. Now 7. A surfacing. A. Shine. Slick surface. Make brush slip. B. Matte. Porous surface. Yang traction. 8. Perspective. How to dissect object structure. Do the flame. Remember, do the flame. To learn about sway stroke and curve stroke. 9. Homework. Straight, curve, and baroque. All right, remember, learn this first tonight, only one thing at a time. And then after you learn, you can go over each one of these. But remember that these lists are only for people that already watch the live. Remember, if you haven't watched the live from start to end and you're just looking at these links, it will really mess you up. It will cripple you because these are a very strong prescription. It's a very strong dose of medicine. So remember, you have to watch the live to actually know what I'm talking about and only watch one part at a time until you realize what I'm trying to convey. Then you move to the second part and then the third part. Each one of these parts, if you mess up a tiny detail, it really can mess you up. So make sure you watch it live. And then when you watch it live, you can write your own notes. And then with this note, you can lay in your bed at night and go over it mentally. You will need at least a week of mental training before you really gonna dive into some kind of painting. Because remember, in line work, remember years ago when I trained that guy, remember that impatience is one of line work biggest enemy, especially when you come to a turn. Remember that. Remember that you have to have patience.
So you're starting off correctly with patience, but they all want to take a shortcut and screenshot.
Here we go.
But if they write it down, they will retain it. If they screenshot it, oh.
But remember, you can screenshot this too. But remember, you have to know what I'm talking about, or else it will mess you up. I'm gonna hold it here for a little more.
You got 3 seconds. 3.
And then the next lesson, I want to focus on pigment to show you how to blend.
And if you don't get this screenshot, you can send me your Cash App, and I will make sure you share.
And then tomorrow we go back to our normal life. Our Halloween. We have like a bunch of Halloween techniques, and tomorrow I'm gonna continue. I want to build up about 3 or 4 pages on different technique, and each of these technique can make multiple lives. It can make like 10 different multiple sets. It can make like 10 different sets on each technique. So tomorrow is more technique, more Halloween technique, so we can get ready. Hi, Jenny. Jenny. Hi, Jenny. I always rewatch the organized live because I always pick up on something else I might miss. Oh, absolutely. Because an organized live is not just a live that you watching me design, really. It's a live where you actually meditated on it and try to absorb, right? And each live will come from years and years of experience. So it's not very easy for a person to just watch it and understand. But because remember, those skills come from experience. So an organized life is very powerful. It's something that for you to study, you know what I mean? And when you study, you're not just gonna open a book and read it one time. You're gonna go over again and again and again, because each lesson is very powerful. Versus with my life that I do design, I really just do it. And sometimes it's funny because people are like, oh, how do you do that line so quick? How do you blend like that? And I always go, and I always kind of explain it to them. But in my mind, I like, you need notes, you need step, you need hours of training for you to do that tiny little line. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I always laugh through it. Like when I do like a person face, and they're like, oh, how did you do her hair? Or how did you do her cheekbone? And I just laugh at like, oh, you just take a ombre brush and you just blend it like this.
They think it's a simple answer.
It's hours of explanation. You know what I mean? It's hour and hour of explanation. So I have to break it down. I have to have a line for shading, a line for blending, a line for line work, a line for blending, all of that from hours and hours of studying and teaching will boil down to a 5-minute design. You know what I mean? So that's why when I do my normal live now, you should pay attention and know that the answer I give you, there's more to it. But the organized live that I love so much because it go to all the different details, so I don't miss out anything. And it's the greatest, I think it's a greatest education
and
platform.
The thing is this, sometimes like in the comments or stuff, people like $200, $300, $400 for nail sets, and they're looking at what we'd have to classify superstars. But to go through and realize all the hours of school and practice and patience and products that you put in there, you won't have to do anybody for any less than those prices.
Right.
When you're there, you're there.
There is people that would love to pay for you to do it. The question, the problem is you can't do it. That's a question. You know what I mean? That is when people say, oh, there's no one around me to pay for the price. No, there's people everywhere that will pay for the price. They're knocking down my door begging to pay for it. The problem is you cannot do it. So that's why we're here today, to teach you so you can do it, because people are willing to pay as long as you can pull it out. Right. If you're shaky and you're doing little things here and there, you struggle with it, you're sweating, you're not going to find those money. You have to be confident. You have to be sure.
They need to be able to come in, hand you the stuff, and then
you just laugh at them.
Moving.
Right. They come in and say, can you do this? And you just laugh. You're like, oh, you peasant. Give me your hand. With confidence. If you like, oh, I don't know how to do it. Okay, it might take me a while. I don't have this. I don't have this gold piece. Will you settle for this? You think that you're gonna get $400 set with that attitude? No, you're not. You're gonna get $60 set. With $400 or $500 set, you have to be able to take anything that they throw in your face. You have to take it. You have to be like, oh, that, oh, I oh, that's last year style, whatever, I do it for you. You know, that, oh, you might want to do a little more on this. You want to throw some chrome effect on you, $50 extra. You might want to, you know, give it a little more blend and shading, $80 extra. And you know, might add some crystal on that girl, $100 extra. You know what I mean? And they will pay. They will pay as long as you can give and give. If you can't give, they're not gonna pay you. They're not gonna want to pay you. They're gonna feel insecure about you touching their hand with your shaky attitude. You know what I mean? They're not gonna want to do that. You know that you will act the same way if you go into a hair salon or do microblades.
If you went to go get your car fixed.
If you go to a mechanic, you know, someone confident, you will pay them. You will want to pay them and you will want to save money to go there because you trust them. But someone shaky, you don't pay. You're like, ugh. I come back later and then you disappear and there you go finding someone else that much better. And the journey go on and on until you find someone that you trust. And when you find someone you trust, you don't really let go. You will do the same thing when you go get your hair done, when you go even do a tanning or a tattoo artist. You know what I mean? You do the same thing. You will pay thousands of dollars for a really good tattoo that you know, but for someone shaky, guess what? You will only want to pay them like $20. Or if they say $20, you like, do you have discount? And can you do it for $15? You know what I mean? But a person that you go in a tattoo artist shop and they just sitting on the throne waiting for you, barely look at you and just talking to you out the corner of their eyes with full confidence, doesn't really ask you much, you know, just kind of listen to you. You will beg them, please, I pay you $2,000, please do my full back, you know, and then be like, maybe they laugh in your face, oh, $2,000, get out of here. You're like, please, really, I pay $4,000, please take me at your client. They were like, oh, come back and come back in 3 months. You know, we have 2-year wait list.
Maybe I might be able to. Yeah.
Maybe I would touch you with my talents. You know what I mean? And you will literally be on your knee begging them, and you would throw all kind of money out there at them because they are a person of desire. There's people that stand.
Person of excellence.
Excellent, yes. And there's people that's standing, waiting for them, knocking down the door, standing in line, and you will be in line too if you even have a chance. Because most of the time you don't have a chance. Most of the time people like that wouldn't even get you in, you know, wouldn't even bat an eye at you. So you do know what that means. So that is what we do in here, is to make you become that person.
Best you can be.
Right.
Now let me comment, because I think everybody is currently giving Aunt Deb bad advice. Bad advice. No, Aunt Deb, you need to just strictly focus on doing marbling. Okay? Shaky condition, you will be an excellent marbler, right?
I mean, the joy is yours. You see, the knowledge is there, but the joy is yours because people think, oh, as long as I get this knowledge, I'm good. No, these are just knowledge. You have to practice. Someone teaching you, okay, this is how you do sit-up. Do you think watching somebody showing you how to do a sit-up and you're like, oh, I'm good, I'm skinny now? No, you have to spend hours to exercise. Running and exercising, you have to pay. That is a price that you pay. It's your time, your effort. When someone teaching you how to do a squat correctly, that's not the end of your journey. You have to go home and start exercising so you can be harder and skinnier. Same with art. Just because I show you this for free, that is just beginning of your journey. Now you have to go ahead and absorb that. You have to take now out and practice. That is the price that you pay. Remember that. It's the same like exercising. There's no way you're watching a trainer and you get skinny right away. You gotta pay your dues. Remember that in order for you to make big money and get rich off it, there is a cost. You have to pay for it. Might not be with money, but with time and effort.
And the thing is, though, and very understandable, but when you put a lot of your time and effort into it, you will never allow anyone to devalue you.
Exactly. Like my friend, whenever we go running or something, they always like, oh, I wish I have time, but I have children. I have to take care of it in school. I have to cook in the afternoon. All right, then be fat. That's it. If you want to get skinny and run with me in the morning, wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and run with me. But if you want to stay fat, then don't do anything. That's it. If you want to change, then get up and run with me. That is just that simple. There is a price that each person have to pay, and even without money, it's not really free. You have to pay your time. You have to pay your energy. That is a sacrifice that you have to make to get rich. It's not easy being rich. You know what I mean? You have to really pay your due to actually get there.
I think that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Are you sure that's it? Any question? Any more question before I get out?
Yeah, self-discipline. That's what it is. If you really want it, you will work for it.
You will work for it. Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons also we do this for free, is because we're giving you the opportunity to be the best yourself you can be, but we're not going to hold your hand and push you through it.
Right. It's up to you, because most people, you have to pay them for them to even show you. And now, you know, after going to so many nail class, and you wonder, why am I still not good yet? It's because you go to nail class to just learning things from them. But the practice is another thing. So remember, all the knowledge here, don't think that over tonight, tomorrow you're going to be good. You have to absorb all of this, and these are the strong dose. It's a good one.
Now,
a strong one.
I wrote down a question before you started that I felt like we needed to answer at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is a variant of everyone else's stuff, but how long should a person practice each day, and for how many days?
Okay, so when I go into line work, let's say I spend an hour, and that's just up to the stamina of each person. But after an hour, I get tunnel vision. I don't do that on live stream because I move constantly and I go from start to finish. But when you practice the same thing over and over and over again, after an hour, you will develop what it called a tunnel vision. Tunnel vision is the enemy of all artists, not just nail artists, but all artists. Tunnel vision is when you look at something and you can't tell the difference between it. Like you can tell if it's ugly or pretty.
Just all blending in
It's
together.
just the same and the same. That's tunnel vision. Tunnel vision is what people experience, especially for beginners that try to do like a face, and they think that it's so pretty, but when I look at it, they're like, that's not pretty, that's ugly. You know what I mean? And they cannot tell the difference. That's called tunnel vision. So tunnel vision develop in about an hour. Depend on each person. If a person's super impatient, tunnel vision will develop after 20 minutes. So it really just depends on that person. So you can switch. You can do a switching method. You can do that. You practice that. And after like 20 minutes, you had it. You can practice something else. And then you go back to this. That's number one. Or number two, you get up and you leave the room. When you leave a room for about 5 minutes, when you come back, your mind reset to that environment. It becomes different.
It's almost just like whenever a person forgets something and then they go to the room, or they leave the room finally.
But that is an avoidance.
They remember
that is for you to watch out of what dangerous. But for you to know how many hours a day do you practice to get good, that's a different thing. So when I learned how to memorize, especially memorizing numbers, a strategy is repetition. I say, if I remember this, and I walk away, and then 10 minutes later I come back and remember this, and I walk away, and I do it about 10 times, but space it out. Your chance of succeed is more than you spend an hour remember this. If you spend an hour remember this and you do the same thing next day, your chance of succeeding is less than when you repeat, when you break in between and you just repeat. That's how I learn language. Is when I learn a word, I don't try to remember it for like hours.
Repetition.
I don't do that. I repeat it throughout the day. When I go downstairs, I remember a word. You know, I repeated a word in my head. And when I go to lunch with my friend, I repeated a word. And I repeat it throughout the day. I space it out evenly throughout the day. So whenever you're not at the nail table, what you can try to memorize is, you know, body stability. You know, that's why you take one subject and you just repeat it throughout your day. Body stability. My feet have to be stable, and then you go lunch with your friend, and when you eating your salad, you'll be like, oh, my left hand have to be grounded. And when you go get your hair done by your hairdresser, you'll be like, oh, my right hand have to be anchors. And at night when you're cooking for your children, you'll be like, ring fingers, anchor my ring fingers. My feet have to be stable. Yeah, my feet have to be stable. Why? Don't try to remember it, like memorize it. That's not working. You have to understand it. You know, like, why do you have to be stable? Oh, because if I cross my leg, I only have one leg to stand on, to sit on, so my body gonna be heavy. And if my body is heavy, I'm not gonna be able to draw perfectly because my hands are so heavy. I have to support it. So it's good that I ground it on my 2 feet, so my body can be lighter. Like, you sit there and you talk to yourself, you question it, you analyze it, you go deeper into it so you can understand it. You don't just memorize like a parrot. That is one thing about a person that learning language is, if they just sit there and remember a sentence, it's not as easy as when you just trying to understand why is that sentence constructed that way. That's why in Spanish, when I'm in high school, I'm the best student in the class, and I don't do my homework. I don't study when I go home. I just really pay attention to the teacher when she's speaking, and I raise questions about it to myself. I answer it. I don't just memorize like a parrot.
That's why you're so much smarter than me.
Any tip on using your back when you just need a good chair? Like, this is okay, but Cindy have really good chair upstairs. You didn't find a good chair if you have back issue. Always keep your back straight. That's my thing is, when you sit here, always try to sit straight like this. Don't do this. You know, this is you letting your client dragging you forward. No, yank the hand back and you ground the hand. They can be this if they want to, but you have to be comfortable. You take the hand, you reach the hand, and you pull it back, and you make it stay here. Their body can do whatever it is that it wants to, but you're gonna be right here. You know, because most of the time nail tech have problem with client dragging them. You know, when they're on the phone, the client sit like this, go in like this. You know what I mean? And you have to like doing this, like that. You know what I mean? Like that. And the client just like, ugh. No, it should be all the whole way around.
Right.
Unless you suck
They're
as a nail tech.
you.
Right. Unless you suck as a nail tech and they don't respect you. But for you to be good and for you to have good skill, now the rule is really yours. You know, it's your environment. Now you have a power of removing them or keeping them. And that is really powerful, and they really feel that. So they will give you more respect.
So somebody asked about armrest for the client or whatever. My personal feeling is this, and that's from watching you on the sidelines these years. You got to treat it like a restaurant. They keep it cold, so you want to hurry up and get out of there. You want them to be attentive, and if they're comfortable, they're gonna chit chat all day long.
Yeah, armrest. Take that. Form right now.
I'm not seeing it.
Okay, armrest me. See, they can be comfortable.
Yeah.
But remember, you don't use your elbow all the way down. The finger stay here. Move. See that? It's right here. They hand can move, but their finger stay.
Like my phone.
They can do whatever it is, but they finger stay here. If they say ow, it's on them. When my client asked me, what if I move? What if I have to do something? I'm gonna break your fingers. Your finger will stay here with me. Your armrest could be right here. Armrest me. Armrest me. Your hand gonna be here. That's it. That's plain and simple. It doesn't matter where your arm is. Your finger will stay here with me. You can go wherever you want, but your finger is right here. And it will stay here because my hand right here are locking them. They cannot go up. They cannot move. They can move their forearm, but from here to here belong to me. Their arm is there, but this part is mine. For the next hour, it's mine. And it stay exactly where I want it to stay. It doesn't matter what the arm is. The hand is here. Remember that. The fingernail is right here where I want.
And surprisingly, it seems like he's really got a hold. You see me try to move or whatever, but it doesn't hurt. And anytime I go, I feel that I don't need to move around so much.
You know why it doesn't hurt? Because it's not me that breaking their finger. It's there that breaking their finger. If someone grab a hold of your hand, when you move, you know which direction will hurt you. So you will be more pay attention versus the nail tech that use their elbow and allow your client to move wherever they want. Guess what? Your client doesn't care about you. They're gonna be like, oh, Mary Beth, oh, guess what? I'm getting my nail done. Oh, and they move. You know what I mean? Because they're not nail tech. They doesn't know what nail tech going through, so they don't really care about it unless their finger about to be broken. Then at that point they will care about it. If they send any kind of pain, then they will not move in that direction. They'll be like, oh.
Right. They'll feel the uncomfortableness.
Mm-hmm. Just like hair. When when you go to a hairdresser and if the hairdresser like give you a glass of champagne and welcome you, give you a hug, you're gonna be like, oh girl, I haven't seen you in a while. But when she pulled out that razor, when she pulled out that razor and have it against the skin, what you do? Are you still gonna no? Are you gonna be like, you know, when she turn your head with the razor right here, you're gonna be like, you know what I mean? Because if not, you're gonna get cut.
You know where the threat's at.
Same with the fingers.
So the best thing is, first time they come in, the first time experience is you cut them.
No.
No. Oh.
That is how you lock the fingers. Okay, let me see. Any more questions?
I think we've answered them all.
All right. That is 6:17. We have like 3 hours live today. I told you it's gonna be a powerful dose of medicine.
I think this is the best one you've ever done.
That's why people ask
them, because this was like truly a classroom. All you needed was the whistle.
Really, people say, oh, what do I need? What tool do I need? What gel do I need? I say, no, this is not when you practice. This is when you have to listen and try to understand and comprehend. The life today take a lot of time for you to even comprehend, because right now you might comprehend a few things, but really you have to comprehend everything that I just say.
A lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. So important. They are important. Remember 8 different steps. So you have to learn every single one.
When people are always constantly saying, what do I do to speed up the process? What it is everything on this list, you need to do automatically. And once you do that, you will be quick.
Right.
Quick.
Right. Because most of the time when people see me design, they like, but how can I be faster? You don't go faster. You're just trying to be in control. Like let me see how to give an example of that. Like when you go to your friend's house. So if you meet a stranger, and let's say that we don't have GPS. Let's say we still use the map, like back in the old day. When you meet a stranger and they give you address and direction, most likely it will take you about 30 minutes to an hour, and you probably miss a turn. Just turn here and then call them and ask, where are you again? What corner? You know, it will take you a while to get to their house. But the second time, you already know direction. And the third time, you go into the house, you remember by heart. And the fourth time, you might drink a little bit. You might drink and drive. And half eye open, half not, and drive to your friend's house in like 10 minutes. Because you know the route, you know the direction.
But
you are in control of the way. Right. So I'm just telling you that when you already know all your steps and be in control, then at that time you automatically faster, because the reason why people are slow is because of hesitation.
Questioning their next movements and actions.
Right. They don't know where they have to plan. Why they do it, they have to plan out the route and everything. And they stroke unstable. Well, guess what? If you stroke unstable, it's gonna be much slower than a person that have control of their stroke.
All right. Are we ready?
Yes. All right.
We will see everybody tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
11 a.m. Central Time.
11 Central Time. Sometimes it's a little late. It depends on if I have coffee that morning.
Tomorrow's going to be rough for everyone.
But tomorrow I'm going to start designing. And in your head, you should go, line work. Oh, that's a curved line right there.
Figure all this out. Right.
And like, oh, yes. That's a feeling. He's feeling right now. Oh, he's blending.
Don't look at his design. Look at every stroke as what technique.
Right.
You start doing that, you too will be a genius.
Right.
Like Tino.
Right. See, oh, that's a baroque stroke. Oh, that's a straight line. Oh, I know what brush he used. He used 20. Oh, if you see me using a 7, you're like, Tino, you're going to use a 20.
You want to get so good that we're willing to let you ride on the rhinestone helicopter and fake your death with us.
All right. See you tomorrow. Yes, I will post this slide immediately. All right, everyone.
Love, peace, and happiness.
I am out of here. What time is that in UK time? Right now it's 6:21 p.m. So tomorrow I'll be at 11 a.m. All right, bye-bye, everyone. I will see you later.